And welcome back to Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon. Last time we cleared the first two stages, so now we've got two pals and we're on to stage 3. As you can see, Alfred's aptitude leaves a lot to be desired. He also has the worst health pool of the characters in this game. But his magic is super useful, so that he's at least worth keeping around for that. Until you pick up that person spell. His default fire shield is fantastic for utility. And this copy spell is fucking garbage. Because it barely extends your range. It doesn't last a whole long, and it doesn't really... Your clone doesn't have a whole lot of power behind it. So it's just kind of a waste of a spell, I feel like, when I would much rather have the fire spell or his other spell, his normal use spell. Anyway, we need the fire spell to get down to this area because that archer is super fucking vast. In hindsight, I probably should have just let Alfred take that one because I'm fairly certain that would have been his last spell. But that's okay, we have the axe, and we'll have plenty of opportunities to show off Alfred's spells later. The fire shield isn't exactly a one-hit kill against everything, but for most platforming sections, if you want the extra bit of security, it's perfect. It's also transferable to the other characters, so you can start up the fire shield as Alfred and then switch to someone who you actually want to use, like Miriam. Oh, there's also breakable walls and stuff. They can lead to goodies or full-on secret rooms. I don't actually have the means of getting whatever that last lantern is, so the world may never know. I also didn't mention it, and I really should have, but I do really appreciate how this game differentiates sub-weapon lanterns from random drop ones. It's really nice so you know not to accidentally hit the sub-weapon lanterns and swap out your triple knife for a single knife. So this room expects you to take it slow, but thankfully getting caught in the spikes isn't a death sentence like it would have been in most NES games. You do have to be careful though, especially if you're playing as Miriam, because her high jumps can very easily fuck you up. I don't know what the, if your character can survive while submerged under the sand completely. I did not want to find out. Of course, these games have the traditional enemy that moves in a sine wave. Everyone knows them, everyone hates them, it's the Medusa heads. Anyway, here's the third boss of the game. He's, not much of a fight, but we'll get to that. This is Valefor. So he attacks by trying to push money at you and crushing you against the wall. But in doing so, he gives you a chance to actually hit him. if you can't jump up the coins, you can give yourself more footholds by just attacking the coins themselves. And he'll repeat this 3 times. Oh no, I beat him before he finished the 3rd one. He's really not a hard boss. He's arguably the easiest one in the game. His other attacks include trying to slam you with his hands directly and summoning monsters. I like never see him do any of that though. And here's the final of our allies. This is Jeeble, the main villain of Ritual of the Night. He's also a shard binder, but unlike Miriam, he... I guess the shards drove him mad and he became Dracula or something. I don't know the Ritual of the Night lore very well. I'm sorry. Miriam was put to sleep after 10 years or something until until Ritual of the Night happened. But that's neither here nor there because Curse of the Moon is in a slightly different timeline, I guess, because Jeeble's a good guy and he's very firmly on our side. And he's the Alucard of this game. That is to say Castlevania 3's Alucard, not the Symphony of the Night one. He shoots out 3 projectiles. Unlike Alucard, he shoots them upwards, so it's useful for attacking enemies at different elevations from you. And if you can also kind of shotgun his 3 bats. Like, if you noticed that zombie there, they're called Morts. It was hit by 2 of my bats. So, as you would imagine, the more bats you hit an enemy with, the more damage you deal. Jeeble's one and only sub-weapon is the bat. He can transform into a bat, and he can either charge as the bat or just ascend. That's it. Any purple lamps he destroys will always contain the big potions. So it's not a bad idea to break purple lamps as him if you need to charge your magic. Also, Jeeble is fucking lousy at dealing with rats, because they're just too low for him to hit with his bats. The bat is also small enough to fit through 1 square or 1 tile tall crevices like that. That probably wasn't the best example because Miriam could just slide under that one, but there are a couple of gaps that Miriam cannot because the gaps are not on floor level. So that's a big scary flaming dude. He's actually impervious to normal attacks. That's okay, we got Alfred's final spell to help us out. It freezes him solid, just like Sypha's ice spell. And then you can shatter them in 1 hit. This little hallway here isn't a whole lot of trouble if you're good at timing your bat throws. That hallway bridge, whatever, is basically straight out of Castlevania 1 now that you think about it. I remember doing the exact same thing with a long stretch of screen that had a bunch of hawks dropping fleamen on me. Also, I haven't actually mentioned it yet, but this game allows you to jump and land on stairs as opposed to normal classic Castlevania games on the NES where you were only allowed to get on stairs and from either the top or the bottom. You can't jump off of stairs though, which is unfortunate, but you know what? I'll take being able to jump on them over not. Right, so this is the final stretch of stage 4. You would think there'd be more enemies than just like little ghosts, but I guess it's a chance to let you recharge here too. For this boss, I highly recommend going in with Alfred's freeze spell and Miriam's axe. That combo is devastating against bosses, we'll say. Devastating against most enemies, but the axe by itself is already pretty... I think it's capable of one-shotting like every enemy in the game. So, the freeze spell works on bosses, and if you attack anything that's frozen, you'll do double damage. So just like that, we've already skipped to phase 2 of the fight. This is Valefor, by the way. It's a 3-headed dragon. Not that we're gonna get to see a whole lot of what it does. Yeah, the first and third heads breathe fire out, and the second head spits out exploding like mucus balls or something. It's not a super hard boss. Actually, this game isn't really hard in general, but we'll see more of that next time.